Frisky Tipsy Libertines with Scott and Janet.
Next, historically, we're going to talk about the Marquis de Sade.
I was waiting for him to pop up.
Which, that's the historical person that most people associate with BDSM.
Like the great-great-great-great-grandfather of BDSM.
He was a French philosopher, and let me tell you, he is no hero.
He was a libertine. He was a poet. He was a writer. Most of his works have been destroyed. Even at the even at the time when he was writing them, he was handing them out, and they were buying them just to destroy them.
Yeah, so he actually killed several of the women that he was engaged in these acts with. So I'm not exonerating him for the terrible things that he did.
I think literally he was a complete sociopath, serial killer tendency, sociopath, and he's been romanticized a lot, and I don't think he should be.
Yeah, no. However, he is responsible for changing the public's perception of BDSM and erotic materials. So in the late 1700s, he published a couple of books, 120 Days of Sodom and Justine. And his work was very graphic and hardcore. It contained beatings and forced orgasms, humiliation, group sex, bondage, cutting, blasphemy. Oh, yeah, the Catholic Church hated this guy, and the feeling was mutual. So he had a ton of blasphemy in his work.
Oh, you also missed incest and pedophilia.
Yeah, so naturally this guy was imprisoned and spent most of his life in an insane asylum after after his works.
Rightfully so.
But we remember him because he was an author, and Sadism is actually named after him, the Marquis de Sade. And if you're asking yourself, but Janet, what about Masochism? Well, I'm so glad you asked, because there was yet a second author, Leopold von Sacher-Masoch. I probably butchered that.
I'm sure you did.
He was an Austrian author from the 1800s, and he wrote a very popular work called Venus in Furs, which was a dominant woman and a submissive man. It was all about submission. So the Masoch is where masochism comes from, and Sade is where Satanism comes from.
Makes sense.